but we'll have to take a look. But Mexico has got to help us at the border.
Well, there is footage and a caravan that includes about 1,000 people that are making their way our direction and possibly to overwhelm the border guards. General Sessions disappointed some on the right when he came out and said there's not going to be a special second counsel. He says, I think John Huber would be the perfect person to do this. He's already working with Horowitz.
The Attorney General did exactly what people should want him to do. If he had appointed a special counsel, there would have been a considerable delay.
Ogunbowale for the win.
March Madness spilling over into April. The Notre Dame women claiming their second national championship in dramatic fashion, of course.
Abby Huntsman, if you're looking for her, she's not off today. She's at the White House waiting for the Easter egg roll to start.
Yeah, it's not always easy, but take the road less traveled. And if you're in New York, it's not going to be easy today because it's snowing here. It's sticking.
It's hard to see the road. Take the road slowly. Right. And by the way, that's what the president's been doing for the longest time. He's been taking his own road to doing a lot of things. He's taking his own machete, cutting his own path because he feels as though he knows what's best for America. And a lot of the time it is what people have not yet done before.
Well, because that's his way of negotiating. He's a bare-knuckled businessman who's now in the White House. Sarah Sanders is the White House press secretary. She joins us from our nation's capital.
Speaking of bare knuckles.
Good morning to you, Sarah.
Good morning. Great to be back with you guys.
It's great to
Hope you had a wonderful Easter.
It was. Thank you very much. You know, the president made it very clear with a series of tweets. He feels the Democrats blew it regarding DACA. Explain.
Look, the president made multiple offers on DACA. He wanted to see something get done, and Democrats refused to actually put something on the table or work with the president to get anything done. They wanted to use DACA recipients as political pawns. I think what's happened here is incredibly sad. Hopefully, Democrats will stop playing political games and actually show up to do what they were elected to do and improve things for people in this country and improve the process that we're going through. Look, the president wanted to make a deal. He made two incredibly generous offers that went far and above even what the previous administrations had done on DACA, and Democrats still refused to make a deal. And I think it's because we're getting close to an election. They don't want to see the president continue to win like he has for the last year and a half, and they're going to do everything they can, even if it means hurting people across this country, if they think that it takes a hit at the president.
Sarah, we had a Border Patrol agent. He was on our show just a few minutes ago, and he was talking about those 1,200 migrants that are coming up, or illegal immigrants that are going to try to come into our country. And through catch and release, all they have to do is prove that, or just tell them that they're coming from, they're seeking asylum. Just tell them that they're coming from a dangerous area and they can't go back. So then we'll release them into our country. The president's been tweeting about this. He's upset about it, so he's asking Congress to step up and pass this nuclear option so that we don't have to get 60 votes in order to pass an immigration bill. What are the chances that Republicans have enough support for that to happen?
Look, I hope that Republicans do. I hope that Republicans will follow the president's lead. Look, he's been very tough on this, and for very good reason. We have an influx of drugs and gang members coming across this border, not just from Mexico, but through Mexico. They need to step up and do more, and Congress absolutely has to step up and do more and make sure we're doing every single thing that we can to protect the people of this country. That's what this president's committed to doing, and that's what he's been focused on for the last year and a half, and that's what he's going to continue fighting for. Whether Congress wants to join him or not, he's going to keep pushing and trying to make sure we're doing what we can to help these people.
Well, let's move over to trade if we can. And China just strike back today. They raised tariffs on U.S. pork, fruit, and a trade dispute. It's going to be billions of dollars. A lot of farmers are nervous. I'm sure the markets are going to be nervous. Are we in the beginning of a trade war? And whether we are or not, are we talking behind the scenes?
Look, we're in the middle of President Trump doing exactly what he said he was going to do and what he's been talking about for decades. He's tired of American workers being taken advantage of. He's tired of our intellectual property being taken. And this is a president who's tough. He's going to stand up and he's going to fight for the American worker, just like he's going to fight to protect our borders. He's going to make sure that we're protecting American workers in this country. And I don't think that the dealing that you're seeing going on with China is any different. This president has been talking talking about this for quite some time.
Is he worried about this hurting the very people that voted for him? Because China went out of their way to say we're going to target the president's base. We know what they do for a living, and we're going after those products.
Look, the president knows that we're billions of dollars in a trade deficit with China. He's tired of us being taken advantage of. They've taken our intellectual property, and the president's going to fight back, and he's going to push back. But we want to be able to work with them to make sure that we're getting a good deal and that we're not taken advantage of anymore. And that's exactly what people elected Donald Trump to come to Washington and do. Look, we've been doing the traditional way for a long time, and the only thing that has done is created a bigger trade deficit with a number of countries across the world, and the president's not going to let that continue.
And the president and Melania will be at the Easter egg roll today. They'll come out toward the end of the roll and mingle within the crowd.
Absolutely. We're expecting an incredible crowd today, thousands of people. As you can see, there are lots of kids already running around here. The First Lady and her team have done a great job, as always, putting together a wonderful event. We're really excited, and I think people are going to have a great time here today. I know my kids are. I'm pretty sure they will spend most of their time at the cookie decorating station.
Really?
And hopefully I'll be able to peel them away from there and burn some of the sugar out doing the actual Easter egg roll itself.
You know, this is one of those things in Washington that is bipartisan, because in addition to, you know, the children of people who work at the White House, you have a lot of Republican families, a lot of Democrat families. They all get together today.
Absolutely. This is a great event. There's also a lot of military families. That's something that's really important for the First Family, is to make sure that we do a lot to include military families, veterans families. One of the stations that kids will stop by today is to make cards for service members that are serving overseas. I hope that every kid has a chance to stop and do that and thank the men and women who have given us our freedoms and allowed us to be out here and participate in events like this today. And again, we think it's going to be a great one, and we're really excited to open up the White House
should want him to do. If he had appointed a special counsel, there would have been
and you mentioned military
delay.
families. The president mentioned them too when he was speaking about infrastructure. He segued into the 2,000 troops we have in Syria and says we're going to get the hell out of there soon and let someone else do the job. Senator Lindsey Graham, General Jack Keane, other people said this would be one of the worst ideas possible, very reminiscent of President Obama pulling all the troops out of Iraq, that candidate Trump was so critical of. Am I to believe, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that the president changed policies without talking to the Secretary of Defense?
Look, the president wants to make sure that our military is being used to the best places possible. He wants to make sure that we're protecting the people in this country. He wants other countries to step up and take a bigger role. That's why he was so strong on pushing people to give more in the NATO process and making sure that the United States wasn't carrying the water for everybody. Look, we want to be involved. We want to help. But at the same time, we want other people to step up and put a little skin in the game, and that's what the president's talking about.
So that message was really to the allies, like the UK, like the Middle East allies, to go up there and say, we need some of you guys to step in there. The message was to our allies, not to really our troops that were leaving?
Look, again, the president wants to make sure that if we're putting American lives across the globe, that they're being used the best way possible. He always wants to make sure that we're doing everything to protect our troops, to help our troops, and that's going to be the president's focus. Sorry, I couldn't hear all of your question. We got the military band playing in the background. A little bit hard to follow everything here this morning, but again, the president wants to make sure we're taking care of the military families, and that's what he's talking about.
Well, the military band is making all the noise behind you on the Truman balcony. Sarah, thank you very much for joining us. Happy Easter Monday.
Thank you so much. Happy Easter, guys.
All right. I hope she took some time off to be with her family yesterday, but she's not off now, even though her family's there. Hey, Jillian.
My family left me. They're in Aruba.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they ask you to go?
Yeah, they did.
And you said no.
I said no. I
She'd
know.
rather be
still.
here in the snow.
They're like, we're out. See you later. Anyway.
How can you say no to the...
I know.
We matter more.
I wanted to stay here and enjoy the snow.
Oh, yes. I'm sure you did.
Good morning, guys.
Well,
Let's
wait
get
a
you
minute.
caught
We're
up.
at the point where parents aren't paying anymore.
Right. All right, we can talk more about that later. For now, let's get you caught up on this story that we've been following. Right now, rescuers frantically searching for a boy who fell into a ditch near the iconic Hollywood sign. Friends say 13-year-old Jesse Hernandez plunged down into a drainage pipe playing inside an abandoned building in Griffith Park. That pipe feeds to the Los Angeles River. More than 100 firefighters and other rescuers searching for the child using special cameras in the pipes. Overnight, a Louisiana sheriff's deputy and Navy veteran shot and rushed to the hospital minutes before the end of his shift. Justin Nell responding to a chase when a burglary suspect crashed their car and opened fire in St. Timony, north of New Orleans. The suspect shot dead. Deputy Nell now recovering in intensive care. He is expected to survive. Tens of thousands of teachers will walk out of classrooms and protest today. Kentucky and Oklahoma, the largest states to demand higher wages and better classroom resources. The movement, despite the Oklahoma governor approving a $6,100 raise last week, the largest in state history. Oklahoma ranks among the worst for teacher pay and education funding. March Madness spilling over into April. Notre Dame, the women claiming their second national championship in dramatic fashion.
Ogunbowale for the win. Good! Arike Ogunbowale wins the national championship for Notre Dame.
Oh, man, that must feel like a dream. That shot of a lifetime securing a 61-58 win over Mississippi State. Tonight, it's the men's turn. 3-seed Michigan taking on #1 Villanova. I know, Steve, you got Villanova.
Nova.
Anyone else?
Wildcats.
Oh.
All right, that'll be tonight. We'll be watching that tonight, and we'll be groggy tomorrow.
Wait, hold on, I need to hear a story. Tell me something great about each team, and then I'll decide who I'm going
Two
for.
Ducey kids.
Okay,
went to Nova.
I grew up near Villanova.
Okay, and then what about the other team?
Michigan is fantastic.
It's just Michigan. No, I'm just kidding. I kid.
All my friends are from Michigan. So we get some rivalry.
All right, I'll go with Villanova because that's where Steve's money went. So
All right.
You're right about that.
we're going to go with Nova here.
Thank you.
All right.
Ryan, who are you choosing?
I'm going to choose to go to break. 11 minutes after the hour. Coming up, Attorney General Jeff Sessions appointing a federal prosecutor to investigate alleged FISA abuse by the FBI and DOJ. So is this the right move? A live report from Washington next.
Plus, a trooper signs off one last time after serving his community for 37 years, and his message, it's pretty incredible. We're going to hear from him just ahead.
This will be my final 10-7. It's been an honor and a privilege and a great career. It's been a great adventure.
As we await impatiently for the Inspector General's findings into alleged FISA abuses, some lawmakers still calling for a second special counsel.
But others say Attorney General Jeff Sessions made the right move, holding off for now. Griff Jenkins is live in Washington, D.C. to break it all down for us. Griff?
Good morning, guys. Yes, several conservatives furious at Attorney General Sessions last week for declining to appoint special counsel, the second one, choosing instead to appoint that federal prosecutor. You see him there, John Huber. Now, Sessions explained the decision in a letter to the chairman of the committees in the House and Senate who are investigating alleged abuses at the FBI and DOJ and calling for that second special counsel. And this frustration was shared by Republican Senator Lindsey Graham.
I want a special counsel to be appointed with the same resources and the same determination to look at those issues as Mueller is looking at the Trump campaign, and I don't see that yet.
Two of those chairmen, Trey Gowdy and Bob Goodlatte of the House Judiciary and Oversight Committee, said while they continue to call for that special counsel, they believe this is a step in the right direction, and some conservative senators like Ron Johnson see it as a positive move.
I'm actually pleased with the appointment of John Huber. He is a disinterested U.S. attorney to work with the Office of Inspector General.
And putting it in perspective, constitutional law professor Jonathan Turley, who appeared on this program a little earlier, says the combination of Huber and Inspector General Horowitz is quite good.
You've got a line prosecutor who has many of the powers that the IG is lacking. You have an IG who knows his way around the Justice Department and has already shown his independence. This is a pretty lethal combination for people that may have committed criminal acts.
And finally, guys, to put into perspective, it's very important to note that while Sessions has chosen this path, he reserves the right to appoint a special counsel in the future. The Inspector General, Michael Horowitz, is expected to issue his report and findings in the coming weeks, perhaps months.
All right,
guys.
Griff, thank you very much. Absolutely. If this guy, Mr. Huber, discovers something, he could say, you know what? I can't handle this. We do need a special counsel. So a second counsel could be coming. Then again, this guy, who's got all sorts of authority, might be able to do it right by
I understand
himself.
that one person being able to handle it might be better because you don't get a whole council involved. However, I just want it to be fair, because right now what's happening is the DOJ is investigating itself, essentially, by investigating the FBI.
Right. Rod Rosenstein involved, which is problematic. But I would think this, believe it or not, I think he's waiting. I think the IG is waiting for Comey's book to come out. He's waiting to see if that's going to add to this story or not, because there are certain things that McCabe and Comey disagree on, and if they can't possibly watch each other's back because somebody's not telling the truth. There's a lot of other things that could be in there.
Well, the book comes out in a few weeks. Wouldn't you think that he already has a copy of the book?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Because we get advance copies. I mean, I have a copy of mine, and mine comes out the week after.
Do you want to give it to an investigator? And I think they are looking at your book, and I think you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, if he works for the DOJ, he has the authority to get a copy of the book.
I don't know. I don't know if he would do that. He would probably just wait. Right. It's coming. But then again, who knows? We don't. This is a question.
Going to get it one way or the other. All right. Well, still ahead. An author claims that he knows who the #1 White House leaker is.
So if you wonder, why there are so many leaks out of the White House, one reason is Kellyanne is the #1 leaker.
Kellyanne Conway joins us next to respond to that.
And I'm sure she will. And the president says there'll be no DACA deal as a caravan of immigrants march to the U.S. They're on their way now. Listen, did Democrats drop the ball by not acting sooner, or do Republicans not take advantage of an opportunity they had? We'll debate it. Glad you're up. Hope you're dressed. Now some headlines. First, it was Confederate monuments. Now one city is pulling down a presidential statue. Yeah, that's just showing a statue that came down before. The City Council of Arcadia, California, voting to take down this memorial of President William McKinley, put up more than a century ago. Officials accuse the former president of ordering the killing of Native Americans. Removing the statue will cost $65,000. There's huge pushback, by the way. And 2 elementary school students taking a knee, believe this, performing the national anthem at Safeco Field in Seattle. It happened before the Mariners game. Unbelievable. What do you say to elementary kids taking a knee? Thanks, Colin Kaepernick. We appreciate it. Now to Ainsley.
All right, thanks so much, Brian. Well, we've been talking a lot this morning about the caravan of immigrants that you see there. There are 1,200 of them that are marching toward the United States. The story now getting President Trump's attention and putting the spotlight on the border. The president just tweeting, DACA is dead because the Democrats didn't care or act, and now everyone wants to get into the DACA bandwagon, or onto the DACA bandwagon. No longer works. Must build a wall to secure our borders with proper border legislation. Democrats want no borders, hence drugs and crime. So did the Democrats drop the ball on DACA? Here to debate is Republican strategist and co-chair for the pro-Trump Great America PAC, Eric Beach, and political analyst Anthony Tall. Anthony, he's speaking to you. He's saying that your party, the Democrats, that you guys dropped the ball. You didn't accept his original plans, so now there's no deal. What do you say?
Well, I think the president is inaccurate with that. This is, make no mistake about it, the president is the quarterback here. He's going to take all the blame, or he's going to get all the glory. So in this case, with these immigrants marching towards Mexico and him complaining about the border not being sufficient enough, whatever happens, it's all going to fall on him. Now, the Democrats had their opportunities, and they may have made some mistakes, but this is all going to fall on the president, and we're going to see what happens in these elections in November.
All right, Eric, what do you think? Is that accurate? What's your response to him?
Well, they're not marching toward Mexico. They're marching through Mexico because we have lax border security. And the reality is not just the Democrats, but the Republicans lost a golden opportunity here because, they had an opportunity to build the wall in return for possibly a DACA compromise. Of course, the Democrats weren't going to vote for that, but that just shows you where their true colors are. And they always, come up with a financial argument, but, $113 billion the taxpayers have to pay in regards to benefits for illegal aliens. So I think this is an opportunity for the Republicans to reinforce Trump's campaign promise of building the wall.
Now, Anthony, do you have a problem with stricter immigration laws, because we had a guest on earlier who was telling us what catch and release really means. It means that any of those people that are coming from violent communities can walk through Mexico from South America and into our country. And once they take one foot once they step into our country and they talk to these border agents, the border agent has to let that person in our country and has to release them into our country until a court date. You're okay with that?
Well, I don't know if I'm going to say that I'm not for stricter laws, but I do have an issue with anyone that wants to come to this country fleeing persecution and looking for a better life. This is no different than what the Italians, the Irish did at the turn of the century. So for us to look at this differently now, because they're coming from a country where the majority of the people are color, is totally un-American. And I believe that our laws are strict enough. But if they're fleeing persecution, they have a legal right to come to a place where they feel safe. And what other place is better than America? What other place is better for them to have upward mobility than America? Now, obviously, there may be some bad apples in the bunch, some people who might not be, here for the right reason. But I think that number is few and far in between. So let these people come here, as we've done for centuries now. Let them immigrate here, and let's see what happens. Let the laws work, and let's see what happens.
Okay, Eric.
Who's the arbiter of that? And also, I mean, that can be.
Well, the court is the arbiter of that. The courts are the arbiter of that.
So to dictate who's being persecuted and who's not? I mean, there are a lot of people from all over the world. I mean, at some point in time, we're either a country or we're not. And we're not a country if we don't have a wall. And, we should be accepting the best and the brightest coming into this country and having America first type policies. We need to have policies that don't undercut middle-class America. And that's what illegal immigration does.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Well, that was the same argument made centuries ago when the Irish and the Italians and the Jews came here. So when I hear these arguments, I just can't help but think that you guys are on the other side of history.
Yeah, Eric, that was a different time, and they came through Ellis Island at the time. Yes. But here's the fear: why even get on the? Or here's the problem: why even get on the list? Why even do it the right way? It takes years for some people to do this, and what we're telling people is you don't have to do that anymore. All you have to do is get on a plane or get on a boat or walk your way through Mexico, and we'll let you in.
And it also sets a precedent for other laws. We're a nation of laws, and it sets a precedent. So it's a bad precedent to set. But again, this is up to the Democrats. They had a real opportunity here, Anthony, to get a DACA compromise. They blew that opportunity. It was a great deal that was on the table by the president. You're right, he's a driving force. But mark my words, if illegal immigration is the #1 issue in these midterm elections, and they will pay the price at the election booth.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
And
Eric,
I disagree
Anthony,
with that.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you both being here. Debbie Wasserman Schultz wants background checks to buy bullets. And when it comes to handling computers with congressional data, well, forget it. The revealing report coming up. Plus, Abby is live at the White House Easter egg roll this morning. Abby, what's coming up there?
Hey, Ainsley. So there is officially chaos. White House in the South Lawn today. Kids have taken over. You can see behind me, you hear about the White House Easter egg roll. You wonder, is it an egg hunt? What is it? No, it's an egg roll. You can see the kids rolling the eggs with a wooden spoon. This is just some of the fun we're having here on the South Lawn. Coming up, though, I'm going to be talking to Special Counsel to the President, Kellyanne Conway. A lot of breaking news happening this morning. We're going to get her take and have a little fun this morning. So stick around. We'll be back right after this.
A little bit of it's a beautiful day.
I hate to contradict Bono, but it's not. It's really not a beautiful day.
Yeah,
it's a little hazy, it's foggy, and it's snowy here.
Yeah, but all those kids and all those families who get to run loose on the South Lawn of the White House, for them, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah, at the White House, Brian.
Right.
Easter egg roll. The kids don't care.
So by my accuracy bothers you.
Yeah,
it does.
It's not accurate. It's not accurate.
I think everybody there would say it's a beautiful day.
Right. It's dewy, it's foggy, it's cold, and it's April 2nd, and I'm angry.
So weather-wise, not a beautiful day.
Right.
Right?
Watch your voice.
Yeah, you might be in a good mood, but it's in
goes.
spite of the weather. In a few minutes, we're going to speak to Abby Huntsman and Kellyanne Conway, or Abby's going to speak to Kellyanne.
But first, we're going to hand it over to Jillian. Did you watch the game? That's why he lost his voice on Saturday.
I did.
Go Jayhawks!
But I agree with you, Brian. It is not beautiful out there right now. It's that heavy, wet snow. That's
Thank
like
the weather.
Ugh.
Kids are going to be forced to practice indoors.
I know. Oh, how dare Mother Nature. All right, let's get you caught up on some of your headlines, starting with this. We now know nearly 50 Democrats waived background checks for Pakistani IT aides accused of hacking. That includes former D.C. Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz. An inspector general's report finding 44 Democrats chose not to vet Imran Awan and several of his family members by using a loophole in the House security policy. Awan, who worked for Schultz, was arrested for bank fraud, waiting for a flight to Pakistan last year. He made headlines for arguing he was too rich to know right from wrong in a deadly drunk driving crash, and today he will walk free. Ethan Couch, dubbed the Affluenza teen, will be released from a Texas jail. He was sentenced to rehab and probation after he killed 4 people while driving drunk at just 16 years old in 2013. But Couch was thrown in jail after violating that probation when he ran away to Mexico with his mom. You just have to see this. A trooper's emotional final radio call is now going viral.
Badge 2988, 37 years and 3 weeks later. It's been a great ride. Thank you very much, and keep smiling.
Mark Gilbert retiring from the Arizona Department of Public Safety after nearly 4 decades. Earlier, he told us what he's looking forward to in this next chapter.
Have any bullet holes, and I feel pretty fortunate, very lucky, very blessed. Somebody's been watching over me, I think. Probably just spend time with my wife and my grandkids, and do a little traveling and some outdoor activities and enjoy life.
Oh, you can catch the full interview at foxandfriends.com. But what an amazing career, right?
I know.
Absolutely.
I know.
And you saw
Signing
him kind
off
of
for the
wiping
last
tears
time.
from his eyes after he made his final call.
Most officers, most policemen, they're not doing it for the money, to be rich. They do it because they want to give back and they help protect.
Absolutely. Thank you, Joe.
They don't do it for the pensions. Adam Klotz, he doesn't do it for the money either. He'd be doing this weathercast for free because he loves being in the elements.
Beautiful day.
Adam, would you work for free?
Yeah, and he's
the case. This is spring in New York City. Can you believe it? This is what spring looks like. But I promise there are places around the country where spring is feeling a bit more spring-like. Let's take a look at some of these temperatures across the country. And yes, if you run into the south, spring does exist. Now, when you talk about spring-like temperatures, yes, you're talking about pollen as well. This is the pollen count in Houston today and tomorrow, high on both of these accounts. Well, why? The temperatures are there. You're beginning to see some of the flowers bloom, the trees blossom in that area. Also, Charlotte, North Carolina, another area where spring is in session. Guys, I can't wait for it to be spring here. I'm stuck in the snow, but it's good to know at least some folks out there are enjoying it.
It'll be here before you know it, and then in August you're going to be wishing for that weather.
I know. Here comes the pollen. Give me some Claritin.
Right.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. But by the way, the Yankees game's still on as of right now.
Today. Yes.
All right. Meanwhile, let's go out to Abby Huntsman. She promises to interview Kellyanne Conway. Abby, are you going to fulfill that promise?
I brought her. I found Kellyanne Conway. She's a tough one to track down at the White House, but I was able to do it. I found her kids first, and then I was able to find her. So we're here at the White House egg roll. I want to get to that in a minute, but still a lot of news this morning, as there always is. Kellyanne, counsel of the president, of course, announced that the president will meet with Shinzo Abe, Prime Minister of Japan, in just a couple of weeks in April.
It is.
Talking about North Korea?
Yes, absolutely continuing the international campaign to have maximum pressure on North Korea. And the Prime Minister will come to Mar-a-Lago after the President's trip to Peru and Colombia. We just had a briefing on that this morning. And, you know, President Trump has established a great relationship with President Abe, with Mr. Abe. They've been able to, I think from the beginning, that February meeting at Mar-a-Lago a year ago, really work together on issues that affect, obviously, our two nations, but also that entire region. Talking about, you know, the cornerstone of peace and stability, obviously economic issues, but very much on everybody's mind now is North Korean. You know, Abby, it should be lost on no one that when the president last August 8th or so at Bedminster talked about North Korea seeing the fire through like they've never seen, the media freaked out. It was all, what is he doing? And then the president accepts the invitation, possibly under his conditions, to come to the table, and they freak out. So he's going to continue doing what he does best, which is try to find a way to tackle the big issues of the day. But obviously North Korea is on everybody's mind, and will be on the table, literally, when they're down in Mar-a-Lago.
And to have all the allies on the same page.
That's right.
As they handle North Korea.
That's right.
Another story in the news, there's a book coming out, Ronald Kessler is writing, coming out tomorrow, I believe, showing President Trump in a positive light. He talks about him in the future being seen as more of a Reagan figure, that he was disliked by the media, but in time in the office he will get a lot done. You are not portrayed as positively, though. He says that you are to blame for some of the leaks, that when he met with you, you had negative things to say about Ivanka and Jared. What do you have to say about that?
No, I have a great working relationship and a great relationship with Jared and Ivanka. Had dinner with them recently at their house. I want to say a couple things. First of all, the President and I talked at length last night about a number of issues, talked about that very briefly because there's so many relevant things happening. He knows, and he has said publicly and privately, who the leakers and the liars are and have been. Very happy that there's a lot less leaking in the White House now than there was.
Do some still exist in the White House?
Perhaps, but let me just make very clear something that you know, because you breathe air and have two eyes. If somebody puts Kellyanne in an interview on a Chiron in a headline, you get clicks and kicks. But we're not really discussing that here at all today. We don't need a book to tell us that this Mr. Trump is going to be a great president. Those of us who have the privilege of actually having access to him and working here every single day, which I know inspires a lot of jealousy and backbiting itself. I've survived a lot of people and continue to be here. We know firsthand that he's a great president. We don't need a book to tell us that Melania Trump is very involved as our First Lady in advising her husband in policy issues. I travel around the country with her on those policy issues. So nobody's really talked about it. And I just want to say one thing. Leakers get great press. I got a lot of texts and emails yesterday saying, wow, I feel so left out. You never tell me anything. Leakers get great press, and one day, Abby, I will have my say. So that will be very fascinating. I will have my say. I really keep my counsel while I'm here because I work in the White House. I'm a government employee, and I'm blessed and privileged to be here. But
and you've been here from the beginning.
People ought to think thrice about that. You know, we learned a long time ago around here that people who say enemy of the people, opposition party, fake news, biased media, they could talk in the media all day long because nobody would suspect them. I'm a very public face here. What I think is out there.
It is, and you're on the show all the time, and you express those views. And we're here for a little fun this morning.
Yeah,
for the White House Easter egg roll. You brought your daughters.
Yes.
Can they come in?
Yeah, come on, girls.
You guys want to come say hello? They are the cutest.
Come on, girls.
So you guys were here last year, right?
Hi.
For the Easter egg roll?
Charlotte is 10, Vanessa is 8, Claudia is 13,
and
has
Vanessa,
a twin brother, George.
Your mom said that you're a spitfire in the group.
Yes.
And Harper's the cousin. Do you have so much fun at Easter egg roll?
Yes.
What do you guys do for Easter in your family?
Well, we have a number of celebrations. This year we happen to be in Palm Beach. I took the girls there for a couple of well-deserved days off, and we actually went to St. Edward's, which is a beautiful church there in the heart of Palm Beach, and had a beautiful mass. And we do have some traditions at home. I grew up in an Italian household, and we have some wonderful traditions there. My grandmother always made homemade, it's called ham pies, and also spinach pies, and a great feast on Easter. But for us, for every religious holiday, Jesus is at the center of that, and yesterday was no different.
Well, you have some beautiful girls. You guys have a pretty good mom.
Yeah.
You like her?
Yeah.
She's okay. She's okay.
Hi, Mom. Hi, River.
Hi, Mom. Hi, River. So fun. Well, you guys have a great time today. And
thank you so much.
Thank you as always.
And congratulations to the new mom. God bless you, Isabel.
Any quick tips
and your sister.
with all these girls?
Well, yes.
Easy.
Oh,
easy.
It's a blessing, and every single day. And I highly recommend it.
No,
keep going. Your mom had 7. Come on, Ed.
That's true. Thanks for being here, you guys.
God bless you.
Ainsley, Stephen, Brian, back to you guys.
Thank you so much.
Great.
So cute.
Thank you, Kellyanne.
All right, 17 minutes now before the top of the hour. Straight ahead, President Trump taking on Amazon, calling the company's deal with the Postal Service a scam. Brian Brenberg's here to break down the business relationship next with a touch screen.
And Eric and Laura Trump are going to join us live from the White House. That's just ahead.
Ramping up his criticism of President Trump, calling his latest comments about Amazon and the U.S. Post Office, quote, bizarre and wrong. Trump tweeting this, and here's a part of it. It is reported that the U.S. Post Office will lose $1.50 on average for each package delivered by Amazon. This post office scam must stop. So does the president have a point here? Let's ask a guy who's good with numbers. He's a chairman and associate professor at King's College. Brian Brenberg, welcome back.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Here's the battle. Amazon versus the postal system. Although they think they're in a deal.
Yeah. No, look, Amazon does have a deal with the post office. There is an issue here, but the important thing to understand is the president is talking about just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to problems with the Postal Service. They're losing money on Amazon, but they're really just losing money across the board. So we've got to fix the bigger problem. Here are their losses over the past 11 years. They've lost money every single year. It's over $60 billion total. That's a problem that taxpayers are going to have to bear unless they can start getting back in the black.
We're not licking stamps like we used to. We're emailing a lot.
We're not licking stamps. We're emailing a lot. There are all sorts of different ways to get communication from one person to another. It doesn't have to be through your mailbox.
But look at these lost numbers. Look at back in 2007, we lost $60 billion.
So since 2007, we've lost cumulatively $60 billion. The post office had to borrow $15 billion through the Treasury to help fund some of that. If they can't pay that money back, that ends up in taxpayers' laps. That's the big issue.
And you're saying this whole thing should be privatized, but nobody actually wants to make that tough decision.
Well, look, we live in a different world right now, and the question we have to ask is, do we need a government-sponsored postal service? And I think the answer is no, we don't need that, because we have other ways to get information across. I love the way you're playing with this thing,
Joel,
by the
could
way.
you come over here and touch this? We have too many great screens. All right, here we got this.
We're so tech-savvy, we don't need the post office anymore.
Hit the middle. All right.
There you go.
Thank you. Right, one more. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Now we lose $1.46 per package.
Exactly. Yeah. So Amazon is being undercharged, and everybody else, by the way, who's sending packages about $1.50. So the post office needs to raise that price in order to get back to break even. They're not doing that.
I hate to say it, but the stamps are too cheap.
Yeah, the stamps are too cheap. Look, if you're losing billions of dollars a year, everything is too cheap. That's the problem right now. They'd have to raise prices. We'd all be paying a little bit more.
And look at, we're doing $30 billion less in first-class mail.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is a huge number. I mean, 30 billion pieces a year less that we're sending. We're only about 5% of correspondence is actually personal correspondence.
Brian, the theme is Amazon's getting a great deal, but the post office has got bigger problems.
The post office has much bigger problems. We need to take a more fundamental look at what we're doing with the post office.
And by the way, if you're in the post office and you work there, you're doing a great job. It's not your fault. We just got to work out a better business plan. Brian, thanks so much.
You bet, Brian.
All right, coming up next, we're checking in with Abby, live at the White House Easter egg roll. She's going to sit down or stand up with Eric and Lara Trump and their baby Luke. But first, I want to check with a guy named Bill Hemmer, who always sits down when I toss to him.
Nice to see you, Easter Bunny. Good morning to you. Did you have a good weekend with the family?
I did, Bill. Thanks for asking. You're the only one to ask me all day. You are so polite.
You sound so sincere right now. Good morning. What's up with this Mexican caravan? Better question, who's behind it, huh? Is President Trump ready to get out of Syria while General Jack Keane argues that is the wrong move? Congress leaks like Gossip Girls. That from Trey Gowdy. And Jason Chaffetz reacts. Great lineup. Come join Easter Monday. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Top of the hour.
When's the Yankees game postponed?
Yeah, I just got word that the Yankees game will be postponed. They might not even play the rest of the season.
We're playing tonight. We're getting snow here and rain.
Meanwhile, that doesn't bother Abby Huntsman because she's with Eric and Lara and Luke Trump.
Are you having so much fun? Good morning, guys. Yeah, look who they brought. Little
so
Lukey here with Eric and Lara. Look at this hair.
The newest member of the
family.
family.
That's his signature look. How much fun are you guys having? Because last year, Ainsley was here for Fox and Friends, and you guys brought both of your dogs.
Yeah.
How much changes in a year?
It's incredible. I mean, between this, obviously, and him, he's been so much fun. I mean, he's been so much fun. We've had an amazing year. We're so blessed. We're so fortunate as a family. It's so incredible. We're so incredible. You know.
Uh-oh.
We lost your sheep already.
So he's now 6
live
months?
television. Yeah, he's
And
6
teething?
months old, teething, a big guy, squirmy as you can
Is he
see.
a big guy?
He was technically here last year, just not out for the world yet. Yeah, so
I mean, it just makes life so much more full. Like Easter means so much more,
Yeah.
right? Do you have a Trump family tradition for Easter that you grew up with? That you
Yeah,
passed
we were
down?
always down in Florida. We spent a lot of time down there. You know, we'd always get the big family together. We'd get together for a big meal. We did that yesterday. We had a great time, and you know how important family is to us. And you know, this is the next generation. He's got a lot of other cousins, and you know.
What's his personality like? Can you get a sense at all?
He's such a happy baby. Honestly, I can't believe how lucky we are. He's so happy. He smiles all the time. It's almost his nap time, so he's a little cranky right now.
And teething.
Yeah.
Which is about my daughter, 2 months younger. It's so amazing how much they change every single day.
Yeah, no, I keep thinking I got the best picture of him, and then I look and it's like 2 months old, and I'm like, oh my God, but he's so much cuter now.
Right.
That's all
They always get cuter and cuter, right, in our eyes.
That's
You
right.
said, Lara, you were just in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And really getting a sense of how people are feeling, how small businesses are doing. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, so I got to go down to my home state of North Carolina. I'll go over to Abby. And I was down there with small business owners, the Shortways. They own Shortway Brewing Company in Newport, North Carolina, and they were telling me how great the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act has been for their business. They've hired more employees, given raises to all their current employees. They're the epitome of the American dream. You know, their business is everything to them, and they were saying how grateful they are to the president for everything he's been able to do for them.
It's everything. I mean, I'm just looking at these eggs, the kids rolling the eggs down. 30,000 eggs have been donated from different farms across the country.
That's so nice.
The White House Easter egg rolls, you know, it's what makes a country so great. One of the all-American great events.
And if you go around, if you talk to the people around here, they're excited. The economy's, you know, on fire. People have jobs once again. Manufacturing's coming back to this country. You know, it's a really, really nice thing to see. Wages are up. I mean, people in this country are happy, and when you ignore all the nonsense that's spewed on the other side, you know, this country's doing well, the economy's doing great.
Well, Luke is very, very happy. That is for sure. You guys are so great to come with us. We'll be back right after this, guys.
All right, we'll head to our newly designed foxandfriends.com for the After the Show show. You'll see the new website, and you'll hear us in the After the Show show. And if you're going to run this morning, run to the radio.
Thank you. That's where I'm going. Breaking overnight now, here we go, folks. On a Monday, a new showdown over immigration. President Trump saying there will be no deal on DACA and stepping up calls for tougher border security after reports of hundreds of illegals traveling through Mexico heading for the U.S. This is going to be an interesting meeting at the border eventually. Good Monday morning on this Easter Monday. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. I'm Bill Hemmer, live inside of America's Newsroom. Big welcome back to Heather. How you doing?
Nice to be here with you.
Nice to see you. It's snowing outside.
It's crazy. April Fool's from yesterday, right?
Indeed.
Absolutely. I'm Heather Childers in for Sandra Smith. You know, the president fired off a series of tweets again today saying that Democrats are refusing to secure our borders and calling on Republicans to go nuclear if necessary and pass tougher immigration laws. The president explaining his position yesterday.
Mexico has got to help us at the border. And a lot of people are coming in because they want to take advantage of DACA. And we're going to have to really see. They had a great chance. The Democrats blew it. They had a great chance. But we'll have to take a look. But Mexico has got to help us at the border. They flow right through Mexico. They send them into the United States. Can't happen that way anymore.
So Team Fox coverage now live in L.A. William Longinus watching that caravan story. But we start with Kevin Corke at the White House. And what's behind the renewed intensity on this issue? Why now, Kevin?
Good morning, my friend. Listen, make no mistake about it. This is about political power. It's about timing ahead of the midterms. And, Bill, I think, quite frankly, it's about putting pressure where it ought to be. Of course,